Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Today's video is all about testing and knowing our hair porosity. This test could be quite tricky, so I advise that you do at least 2 or 3 of these methods for some efficiency. For the first method, we are going to be looking at the water absorption test. So you just saturate your hair with water, and just take note, when you're saturating your hair with water, does it sink in immediately? If it sinks in immediately, then you have high porosity hair. If it doesn't sink in immediately and just takes a little while but it does sink in, then you have low porosity hair. If it takes quite a long while for the water to absorb into your hair, then you likely fall under the category of normal porosity. In my case, I fall under high porosity because it sinks in immediately. For the second method, we're going to be looking at the hair and body test. So after saturating your hair, which one dries first? Is it your body or your hair? If your hair dries first, then you likely fall under the high porosity. But if your body dries first, then you fall under low or normal porosity category. In my case, I was kind of confused because they seem to be getting dry at the same time. So here I got a little bit confused, and that is why I said this test can be trickish. Following up with this third method, which is the float test. I think most people usually do this test, but this is actually one of the very trickish tests because I don't know. Let's just watch. Just get some strands of hair from all parts of your head, not just on one part. I took it from the front, the middle, and the back, and then use room temperature water. So just put the strands of hair into the jar of water and just give it about 10 minutes, even though in my case I gave it about 5 minutes. And if the hair sinks underneath, then you have high porosity hair. But if the hair remains on top, you have low porosity hair. If the hair remains in the middle, then you have normal porosity hair. However, try to submerge the hair into the water because of the pressure of the water, the hair may remain on top if you don't try to make the hair absorb water. So I try to swirl it a little bit so that the hair absorbs water, and that's when I actually started getting results because almost all my hair just sank underneath the jar. So I fell under the category of high porosity on this test because like 98% of the hair that I use just went under the jar. So I fall under high porosity. So underneath, high porosity; on top, low porosity; in the middle, normal porosity. So this is actually one of the simplest tests but also tricky. Just make sure that you submerge the hair into the water to get great result, because when I didn't do that, all my hair was on top. But in some cases I have seen how when they submerge it, the people with low porosity hair, their hair will float back up. So this is mine, and clearly almost all the hair was like under the jar, and I just had like two strands of hair left like on top. So yeah, I fell under the high porosity in this test. This fourth method is the moisturizing product test. Just get a moisturizing cream and make sure that it's enough to cover your full hair and rub it into your hair thoroughly. If it sits, or if the cream sits on top of your hair, it means you have low porosity. If it sinks into your strands immediately, like mine does, then you have high porosity. But if the moisture lasts you all day, then you likely have normal porosity. So in my case, I have high porosity. For this last method, it's called the Strand Test. Just grab a piece of your hair and hold it at the ends, and then fill it upwards to the roots. And if it feels kind of bumpy and uneven, it means that the cuticles are open and resulting to high porosity. But if it kind of feels even and smooth, then you likely have low or normal porosity. Mine are rough as rough can get, so I definitely have high porosity on this one. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, and see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.